Big Cat. This lesson gives you a brief explanation of the engine editor interface. At the top, you can switch between screens by clicking on them. Drag and drop to display the interface independently. Below is the menu bar. The Fill menu has many new and sales-related functions. The most important in the Add menu are the Editor Preference and Project Settings and Plugin Settings. The Window menu can choose to show and hide the various windows. The Help menu can jump to the documentation. Click Editor Preference. Here you can set the global engine functions. The settings are not for a project, but all projects. Click Project Settings. Here you can set the settings for the current project. In the Content Browser window, you can browse all the resources of the current project. The center position is the viewport of the scene. The default state in the perspective mode. Click this button to switch to another model view. Clicking this button divides the view into 4 windows to be displayed simultaneously. This is the World Outline panel. All the contents of the scene can be found here. Double-click on an object to locate it in the scene. Here, you can create folders to categorize your resources. Right-click on an object to operate on it. Enter a keyword in the search field to search. This is the Details panel. When we select an object, the information for that object is displayed in this panel. Click on Blueprint button and click to open Level Blueprint. Here, you can program the blueprint. These are the most basic panels, and many others will be used throughout the game development process. The use of each of these panels will be described in detail later in the development process. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next session. Hello everyone, I'm Big Cat. This lesson explains to you how to run the game. The first way is to run directly in the scene viewport. There is a play button here. Click on this button to run it directly in the viewport. After running, the mouse cursor disappears and the focus comes into the scene. Press Shift plus F1 key to show the mouse cursor. Mouse click anywhere in the same view. The mouse cursor will be hidden again. The other way is to run in a new window. Click on the little arrow. There are many ways to run it. The first one is the way we just run it directly. The second is to run it using the mobile emulator. The third is to create a new window to run in. The fourth is to run it VR mode. The fifth one is to run it as a completely separate process. The sixth is to run it as a simulation. The most common of these runs is to create a new window to run in. Click on New Actor window. A new window is generated. Click on the small arrow. Click on Advanced Settings. This panel is the Editor Preferences panel. Here, you can set the run-related parameters. Since the resolution we used to create the UI was 1920 by 1080, the resolution of the new window was changed to 1920 by 1080. Play the game. The resolution of the new window is changed to 1920 by 1080. In the Models panel, there is a Player Start object. Drag a Player Start into the scene. Play the game. The initial position has changed. There is another way to locate the initial position quickly. Right-click on the position you want. Click on Play from here. Both of these ways of running the game will be used often later in the development process. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next session. Hello everyone, I'm Big Cat. In this lesson, we'll look at some of essential elements of the Unreal Engine. First up is the object. The base building blocks in the Unreal Engine are called objects and contain a lot of the essential, under the hood, functionality for your game access. Just about everything in Unreal Engine inherits from an object. It implements features such as garbage collections, mandate support for exporting variables to the Unreal Editor, and serialization for loading and saving. Right-click. Select the Blueprint class. You can see that all types inherit from object. Actor object. This object is often used. An actor is any object that can be placed into a level. Actors are a generic class that supports 3D transformations such as translation, rotation, and scale. Right-click and select the Blueprint class. Create an actor. Open an actor. Write the blueprint in Event Graph. Actor inherits from object, so actor also has functions such as garbage collection. Component can be added to an actor. Components cannot appear alone, and they need to be added to the actor. For example, let's add a static mesh component. This component is used to display the static model. Press the left mouse button and drag and drop it into the blueprint. Drag the node. All the functions of the static mesh component are displayed. Enter Set Static Mesh. This is where you can set his model. In this lesson, we have explained a few essential elements that will be used frequently in future game development, and you will get to know these elements step by step better. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next session. Hello everyone, I'm Big Cat. This lesson will introduce you the game framework gameplay provided by Unreal Engine. Framework relationships. A game is made of a game model and a game state. Human players join the game associated with player controllers. These player controllers allow players to possess pawns in the game to have physical representations in the level. Player controller also give players input controls, a head-up display or HUD, and a player camera manager for handling camera views. From the window menu, click on World Settings. Here you can set up the game model and other objects. The base rules of the game should be stored in game model. The game model object exists only on the server and usually stores information about the game that the client does not need to know explicitly. For example, in our game, an airdrop is replenished now and then. Selected for deciding when to time the drop, calculating the drop's location, and generating the drop's content should be written in the game mode. The client doesn't care how the content is generated and just notifies the client when the server is done calculated. Game state stores information about the entire game. Game state exists on both server and clients, so the server can use copy variables on game state to keep all clients up to date with the latest game data. For example, in our game, the current status of the number of players remaining, safe zone information, etc. should be stored in the game state. Pawn is the physical symbol of the player in the world. What exactly is pawn? Let's run the project and see. Find the default pawn in the word outline. As you can see in the details panel, this default pawn has a move component. There is also a collision component. You can move with the W, S, A, and D keys. The collision effect will occur when you hit an object. In our game, the player character is required to be shown humanoid characteristics. Use the character object instanced of pawn. Create a character. Character inherits from the pawn object. The character object has a character movement component by default, which allows walking, running, jumping, flying, and swimming around the scenes. There is also a capsule component, which represents the physical size of the character. There is also a skeletal model component, which shows the character skeletal model and allows for the skeletal's advanced animation. Delete the blueprint. The player controller is used to control the behavior of the character. The user input is processed in the player controller, and the commands are then sent to pawn. The player controller is always present in the game. The HUD refers to the status and the information overlaid on the screen during gameplay. The purpose of the HUD is to inform the player of the game's current state. The score there has the amount of time remaining. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next session. Hello everyone, I'm Big Cat. This lesson creates content about the gameplay framework. Create the folder in the content folder. Name it Blueprints. All blueprints for this project are placed in this folder. Create a folder named Gameplay. Gameplay-related blueprints are placed in this folder. Create a folder and name it Character. Blueprints for the character are placed in this folder. Create a blueprint class in the Gameplay folder. Select Game Mode Base. Name it MyGameMode. Create another blueprint class. Select Player Controller. Name this as MyPlayerController. Create another blueprint class. Type GameState in the search field. Select GameState Base. Note that you have to select GameState Base instead of GameState here. Name it MyGameState. Create another blueprint class. Type HUD in the search field. Select HUD. Name it MyHUD. Create another blueprint class. Tap Player State in the search field. Select Player State. Name it My Player State. Create another blueprint class. Select Character. Name it My Character. Next, set up these blueprints that you just created. Open My Game Mode. Set the GameState class to MyGameState. Set the PlayerController class to MyPlayerController. Set PlayerState class to MyPlayerState. Set the HUD to MyHUD. Set default pawn class to MyCharacter. Compile, save. Open the project setting panel. Select Map and Mode. Set the default game mode to MyGame mode. Set the editor start map and the game default map to both level test. Open the level test scene. Add a player start to the scene. Adjust the rotation. Open the world settings panel. Set game mode to MyGame mode. Play the game. Now, the WSAD and the mouse are not working because the game mode has been replaced with one we just created, and we haven't made any action logic yet. Next, create game instance. Create a blueprint in the gameplay folder. Tap Game Instance and select Game Instance. Name it My Game Instance. Save. Game Instance is present throughout the application from start to finish. It is possible to do something like scene switching in this class. You can also create some contents here that can be used anywhere. Open the Project Settings panel. Set the Game Instance class to MyGameInstance. In this lesson, we have created the relevant blueprint needed for gameplay, which will be gradually improved in later lessons. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next session.